You ever notice how when someone does something like purchase a new car or finance a new car, and then they post the car on Facebook or Instagram, they get tons of engagement. Everyone's like, ooh, congratulations. And they like it, they leave comments, and just tons and tons of people glorify it. But if you were to go and post on Instagram or Facebook and say something like, I just invested $10,000 into my financial education and I'm taking courses about how to make money and how to build wealth. Or you say something like, I just invested $10,000 into, and you list some different digital assets or some different stocks that you believe are going to do well in the future. You won't get the same kind of response. Now, why is that? It's because the poor people are programmed and conditioned to glorify liabilities, like buying a new car. It is a liability. I mean, unless you're going to do some kind of fix and flip, or you're going to rent it out and earn residual income from renting it out. If you're just driving it and you're paying for the maintenance, you're paying for the insurance, you're paying for the gas, you're paying for the monthly payments if you financed it, and you're paying the interest on it if you finance it, well, that is a liability. That is something that's putting you further and further into debt. It's something that's taking money out of your pocket. But the poor people are programmed and conditioned to do things like this. They're programmed and conditioned to glorify it. And that's why a lot of these poor people, they never get ahead. They just keep spinning their wheels in the mud. And it's just because of these mindsets that are programmed and conditioned from a very, very young age. Materialism is glorified on television, in the magazines, on social media. Even when you go to school, they glorify going into debt. They train you on going into debt. They program you to go into debt, go to school, go to college, take out a student loan, finance a car, mortgage a house. That's all debt piling up on top of each other. They program and condition you to put your money in the bank. Well, when you put money in the bank, what are you doing? You're just storing debt in a bank. The United States dollar is just a debt note. Not to mention inflation. So just by holding money in the bank, that's also a liability, because the Federal Reserve keeps printing trillions and trillions of dollars, so that the value of that money you hold in the bank is declining, and it's guaranteed to decline because they keep printing more and more money. That's basic math, supply and demand. Numbers like that don't lie. So just by holding your money in the bank, that is also a liability. So you see how they program and condition everyone with these poor mindsets. Wealthy people invest their money into assets. Poor people spend their money on liabilities. Poor people just hold money in the bank and let it inflate. The wealthy people, they're pulling their money out of the bank and diversifying into assets, real estate, cryptocurrencies, stocks, cash flow businesses, and they're accumulating portfolios of assets that have a high probability of constantly increasing in value. It's just a quick, simple switch of the mindset that can change your life. Switching your mindset from spending money on liabilities to investing into assets. The other mindset that you can switch, which will immediately change your life, is to stop trading your time for money and start attracting money based on your performance. Let me give you an example of this. When you trade your time for money, like at a job, you have an hourly wage. Well, there's a limited amount of hours that you have in each day. There's a limited amount of hours each week. So by default, you are limited by those hours. Then you have a boss that dictates the amount of hours that you're allowed to work. They do the schedule for you. So you got the boss dictating the amount of hours you can work, and you got the boss dictating the wage. So you're limited in more than just one area. But when you attract money based on your performance, because there is no limit to how well you can perform, there is no limit to how much money you can attract. Take a look at Cristiano Ronaldo, the world famous soccer player. Undisputably one of the greatest soccer players in history. He gets paid hundreds of millions of dollars by his sponsors and by those teams. Do you think that the sponsors and the teams care how many hours he trains per day? Do you think they're paying him based on whether or not he trains for 4 hours a day or whether or not he trains for 5 hours a day? They're not. All they care about is how well he can perform. And they pay him hundreds of millions of dollars because he can perform so well. And by perform, I mean help the team score goals and win the game. That's just a very extreme example, but it applies in all areas of life. Guys, if you like the kind of content that I share, make sure you leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and give me a thumbs up. Let the YouTube algorithm know that you like learning about this kind of content, and I'll keep creating more of it.